I want you to know that this is actually the second time I'm recording this intro. Hi and welcome back to my channel, and for this one we're going to be talking all about frogs. So I had previously, several months ago, back in September, recorded an intro for this project. I didn't expect for it to take this long to get towards the end of it. It is now May. But I had watched myself back and decided I wanted to do it all over again for a variety of reasons. I'll get more into that later, but for now, this video is all going to be frog related. If you go to my channel a few videos down, you will see that I had done a video on dog portraits. That was a gig I had done summer of last year, and it went very, very well. And my partner has since encouraged me to do more animal portraits. And he had one in mind that he had said for years he wanted me to do. One second. This is what he's talking about. This is a watercolor sketch of a blue dart frog I did, I think back in 2022, and I did it just because I was bored, but he loved it and he had been encouraging me to do an oil painting series of frogs ever since. And fortunately for me, I am very close to Chester Zoo, and Chester Zoo has a complete array of amphibians that you wouldn't see walking around here. So around the time I was doing those dog portraits, we took a trip to Chester Zoo because we had a friend visiting. I'm pretty sure that's also mentioned in that video. My main mission when heading to Chester Zoo was to take my own references for my next oil painting series. If you remember the dog portrait one, I took references online that were allowed to be used, and I've tagged and referenced everyone who needed to be mentioned in the caption. Do we say caption in YouTube videos? Bio? You know what I mean. But ever since then, I realized that I just wanted from now on to take my own references. And because I lived so close to Chester Zoo, that was very easy. They have a wonderful array of animals, and they're so well looked after compared to most zoos. Yeah, we won't go into that. I didn't have a set plan on how many pictures I wanted to take or what types of frogs I was aiming for. I just went in and took pictures. And it was a lot harder than I thought it would be. One, because frogs move about a lot. I know we often see them standing still, not moving, wondering if they're even alive, but these ones were just jumping about everywhere, which must mean they're happy, I guess. And the other reason is because they work so hard to ensure that these frogs are in a habitat that they're the most comfortable in, the glass that they were behind was very foggy, very wet. When trying to take a high quality picture of the frogs from the other side, that proved to be a challenge as well. I got 4 that I was very happy with. So the first frog had to be another blue dart frog, in honor of my partner suggesting that I do this in the first place. And the one I got was really good. I kind of liked the way his leg was sticking out against a rock. I liked the moisture of the leaves. I thought it was a very effective, funny picture. A little bit dark, a little bit moody, but which could work for me. I already know what they look like because I painted them and they're sitting right there. Don't worry, you'll see them at the end of the video. The second frog, coincidentally, is also a dart frog. It's a red dart frog. Someone has also called it the strawberry frog. That one is probably my favorite picture. I kind of like how it was resting perfectly on a leaf. The background has got a mixture of different arrays, but the second I took that picture, that frog disappeared. I don't know where it jumped to, but it was gone. And I'm so glad I caught that picture when I did. The third one is also called a dart frog. I didn't plan on just taking pictures of good quality dart frogs. Maybe it was because they were the most aesthetic or easiest to capture, but that's how it worked. And that one is called the golden dart frog. It's essentially a yellow version of the ones we've been over so far. For some reason my camera picked it up a little bit more of an orangey color, not mine, and it looks very fat. I'm almost convinced I've probably got the wrong frog for this one, but apparently that's what they're called. This one I was very excited to paint because yes, it looked very simple, there's not as much spots on it compared to the other two, but there were water droplets at the front of the glass, and I had never painted those in oils before, and it could either go really, really well or really, really bad. Stay tuned to see how that turns out. And the fourth and final one, I don't know the name of. I've tried finding it online. I've not quite found the frog that I got. And he was gonna be definitely the most challenging photo because he is right up on the glass. In fact, as I was taking this picture, he was actively climbing up said glass. But he seemed content, and it's a very good picture at the end of the day. You can see the contrast of where the light hits him from behind versus when he's up against the glass, the way his skin kind of like is pressed on it. A big challenge. I'm not sure how well it was going to turn out, but it was a good one, and I had my perfect set of 4 frogs ready to paint. So yeah, I'm hoping to keep my intros a lot shorter, and I hope this one is short enough. And with that, we'll just get straight into how it turned out painting 4 very poisonous, very gorgeous looking frogs.
If I am fully honest, I never really know what to say in the time lapses of my videos. Sometimes I wonder whether to just go into every single detail of my thought process while painting, but the truth is, a lot of it I don't remember. I know I really need to put together a diary or a sketchbook for these very moments. And then another part of me just thinks it's better off having music just playing in the background while you get to watch me bring the paintings to life. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm not too sure. Another idea I had was to potentially read out just 10 fun facts of each of the frogs as they were being painted in front of you, but again, I don't think that's really necessary. So I'll stick to just adding in a few comments here and there for this video. As you can see for the blue dart frog, the background is pretty straightforward. The background is completely burnt umber, and then the leaves were a mixture of warm and cool green tones, basically trying to reflect the same shine that was in the original reference. The hardest part of the background was definitely the tree bark that the frog is resting on, mainly because the texture in the original reference was very dark and very detailed and very textured, and I just could not replicate that with oils. So my priority was making sure that the values were at least accurate, especially around the leg of the frog where it's very dark, and on the further side of the left where it's very light. With this blue dart frog, I found that the biggest challenge was indeed the blue part. The first and second layer of painting its body, I just did not like the shade of the blue. It felt far too pale and cloudy compared to the bright bold blue that is in the original reference. I even had to put this painting away for a month or two because I couldn't quite figure out what I was doing wrong with my color mixing and why the colors were turning out the way they were, so I was very hesitant to go back over it and over it again to make it very muddy. But as you can see here, I finally cracked it. It was just the fact that I had been incorporating the shade on the belly button throughout the entire body when that was just the lightest part. Then once I could put in all the freckles and the highlights, that's when the painting finally sprung to life. And I'm very happy. I think out of all the frog paintings, this is the one where I put the least amount of effort into the background, mainly because I wasn't too sure what I was looking at. It was very blurred. There was a lot of different layers of leaves all crossing over each other. So instead of trying to get it completely accurate and down to the right detail, I just wanted to capture every value and every shade to the best of my ability without making too much effort into the leaves individually. The important part for me was the frog itself, so I just, as you can see here, I go over each of the color schemes of each of the leaves behind and in front of them very, very plainly. Please excuse that jump cut. I keep forgetting that the camera stops filming after 45 minutes and just lost the footage of me starting on the red frog. But as you can see, the biggest part of putting together the shadings is finding out where the lighting makes the skin look yellow, where it makes it look redder, oranger, and even brown. And just by following down to the detail where the light hits on the skin, as in the reference, really helped bring this painting to life. Same thing with the spots. Even though it looks darker, the shine makes it look lighter, so I had to use a lighter shade of color. And once adding the highlights, it just makes the whole thing come together, and I think out of all the frogs, this is definitely one of the strongest ones, and I was very, very happy with it when it was done, especially when I finished up the eyes.
Still me. I haven't moved an inch since filming the intro, but I'm imagining for you guys it's been a few minutes. I'm filling this part in on behalf of the person who recorded the first intro and the first rant for this video all those months ago. I haven't got a set plan, but that's kind of part of why I wanted to do this rant, shall we say. I'm hoping I'll be putting it exactly where the original me had intended to put the original rant, and it just felt silly putting it in now, and I'll explain why. Because one of the reasons I had decided to re-record both the intro and the rant, even though they were done on separate days, is because the intro was very messy. I was hardly looking into the camera, and I was also kind of like cut off like this the entire time. And my hair was straight and I was touching it a lot, and also I had put on a lot of weight. Not surprisingly, but I could really see it, like, anyway. And she was talking a lot to herself, a lot of it looking that way because I had my laptop there, was all my references, but just realized I could do it again better, feeling better about myself as well, as I do. And the rant happened in the middle of painting all the frogs. They had all been started on, halfway there maybe, but none of them were done. And I was horrified a little when she said, past me said, it's the middle of September, because now it is May as of recording this video. And so much has changed since then, and yeah, it just made me realize it'd make more sense just to re-record. The rant was about a few things. Number one, I was going through not an artist block, and that's something I wanted to explain on the rant. It was sort of I just don't have the willpower to paint, and it's not because I'm blocked. I know exactly what I want to do and how to do it. I just can't seem to find the energy or the motivation, the courage to an extent to paint. And I was having a bit of a rant about why I wanted to normalize it on this channel, especially in the times we're in now. We always only see the highlight and the best of what we've done or created or lived through, and for me, I wanted to be a lot more honest. Like in the wedding video, which is also on my channel, I go over how many paintings I had failed before I got one that I was genuinely happy with. I wanted to talk a bit like a diary almost onto my rant about how I was feeling, and yes, you're seeing all the easy parts on a time-lapse sped up of the process of painting, but you don't see the frustrations, the doubts behind the scenes, or the genuine struggle of wanting to be an artist in today's times. And that was the rant at the time, because then I was, albeit a bit depressed, I was unemployed, I was fatter, and I was very stressed out because this is what I want to do, and it felt like I was swimming through butter to get there. You know, the odds were stacked against me. It was costing me more money than I was making, and you know, is this it? Is this just what life is going to be like forever? Because that's how my head likes to think. But since then, now as I'm recording, I've not only got a day job, but I've also been promoted since then. I've not only finished a lot of paintings, I've got more coming, and I've got 2 exhibitions booked this year. Maybe even 3, we'll see about that one, I don't know yet. Oh, I still model. I've done, I think, 13 photo shoots since then, and the weight's dropped. I'm working out, I'm trying to be better, eat better. I've written a lot. I still write a lot, and I am on the cover, or my art's gonna be on the cover of an art magazine by the end of this month. So it was a bit surreal watching over that as I was trying to edit this video. And it was the thing that made me realize I just need to re-record everything because I'm not happy with what I'm seeing, and so much has changed since then. And I'm hoping putting this in this video, I'm hoping I will put this in. I might change my mind and say none of this matters, but I hope to anyone who is watching, be it as an artist themselves or someone who is interested in me in art, or just watching this video because you know me and this is a side of me you're not probably familiar with. Not only that it does get better, but it's fascinating how much can change in such a little amount of time. And I want it to be a reminder to myself that next time I do go through, you know, a dip, that you might come out better than before, because that's how it's been working out for me ever since. Painting every single day. I was hoping then to be able to do it 4 to 8 hours a day. That was never feasible. And even now with a day job is especially not feasible. 1% a day is so much more effective, I find. Resting is of course important, but coming home and just getting 1% done, 1% more each day really is effective. And now I can sit here and say the frog paintings are done as well. You know, I got there eventually. They're done and they look amazing. They're really good. So yeah. I guess that's kind of what I wanted this rant to be about. I don't really have a conclusion or an end point to make. I think it's just, yeah, things do work out and things do get better. And, you know, as cheesy as it is, you can't give up, you have to keep going. It'll work out eventually, but it does. I think I'm still processing it. Anyway, let's get back to the frogs.
Thank you for listening to my little rant, assuming you didn't click ahead just to this clip. We are now into painting the golden dart frog, which I believe turned out to be the strongest of the 4 frogs. Or at least that is my humble opinion. And I may be biased because out of all of them, this was the one I was the most nervous to paint. I had never painted water droplets before. I wasn't sure about the background, whether I could make it look as smooth and transitional as it does in the camera work, and I wasn't even sure if I got the proportions of the frog right. So it was wonderful to see it gradually come together. As you can see here in the background, you can see me playing with the shades. There's some browns, was in the turquoise, there are some very dark blues, and eventually you see me going back over a bunch of them because they weren't quite dark enough, blending it together so it seems seamless, etc. Now, I'm sure I have already stated this before, but the original frog was not this orange. It was actually a very lemony yellow, so I don't know how my cameras managed to get this bright orange instead. However, part of me is almost thankful for it because it did help with the boundaries a little bit more and the hues than I think it would have with the pale yellow. So instead of using like greens and blues to mix in the shadings of the frog, was this one I could use more burnt umber, more reds, cadmium red, etc. to bring it out. But what really brought the painting to life was definitely the highlights on the eyes and the skin and the little details on the leaf. That's when this painting really came together, but lastly the water drops really sealed the deal, and I was so impressed with how they turned out. I was not expecting that. Last but not least, we have the black and white frog. Now, I know I said that I found the previous frog the most intimidating to paint, and that was my honest opinion at the time of painting. However, I underestimated the complexity of the composition of this frog. Starting with the background of this reference where everything was practically muddied up and blurred, I really should have left the first layer alone because the patchiness that I had incorporated with the different tones and values of the colors on the background definitely captured it better. But then you see me going in a second time and it smooths all those colors out, and I don't like the way it turned out. However, it probably does look more accurate to the reference, but I just found the first layer better in terms of texture. When it came to painting the actual frog, the skin tones were divided up into two sections. The one that was exposed to the light behind where the camera was taking the picture, and the sections of the skin that were pressed right up against the glass towards the camera. This was definitely a challenge to paint because the two different skin areas in the original reference seemed to have a very clear border. However, when replicating that in a painting, it looked a little too artificial or a little too cartoonish in my opinion, and yet I couldn't find a way to make it seem more seamless. And in the end, I had to give up and just accept that this is the best I could probably do as a skin tone, and focus mainly on the highlights on the eyes, the fingers, and then on the glass. It's not a terrible painting, but I definitely felt like this was a bit too challenging for me and my skill set.
So yeah, let's go into all the frog paintings. Starting with the blue one. I was nervous about this one because I thought that I wasn't getting the right shades of blue, and it was starting to look a little too fake because it is a very unusual color for a frog, and yet in the end I think it looks almost just like the reference. I definitely wish I could have worked more on the greenery, and I don't like its toes very much. It looks a little bit muddied, but all in all, I don't think I can complain. It's a really good painting. The next one we have is the red dart frog. I think this is definitely a strong one because of the shading on the back and the thighs. It looks more of an orangey tone than red, but it is called a red dart frog. It looks almost like it's jumping out of the frame. I would have loved to have worked a little bit more on the background. It doesn't look bad, and in some cases I would say that's even good because it means that the frog gets most of the attention and the background is just the background. But it does seem a little simple in my opinion, and I wish I could have worked on it a little bit more, but I'm not exactly sure how I could have done that, so I've just left it as it is. But it's still really good. I think it's so good. I think this one is definitely the strongest painting of them all, and it's the golden dart frog. I just can't believe I painted it. It just looks so good. The drops on the frame, on the glass, I guess. Drops on the glass look very real. I was so nervous to paint them. I didn't think I'd do a good job, but it actually turned out so much better than I expected. And yeah, the leaf, everything, it just looks so good. I'm happy with it. I'm so happy with it. And last but not least is the black and white one. Now in my opinion, this is the weakest one, but I've had a lot of people, lots of friends and family say otherwise. I think it's just, I'm not happy with it because I thought it would turn out better than it did. I do recognize that it was definitely the most challenging one to paint because the entire composition is completely different to all the others. However, I feel like it just looks like it's flying and that it's not against some glass, in my opinion. I've had people say the exact opposite and say that they personally really like this one. So if this is your favorite, or let me know and I won't be offended or upset. I would love to know what everybody's favorite painting is. Just leave a comment down below. It's not bad, like I'm not ashamed of it. I'm still including it in the collection because it's still a strong painting. I just think it's unfortunate that the other three look so much stronger that it makes this one, in my opinion, look a bit weaker, in my opinion. But it doesn't make it a bad painting. It's still pretty good. I worked hard on it. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know which frog is your favorite. Let me know what your favorite painting is, and let me know if you have any recommendations for a potential future painting series. Quick promos. If you like my paintings but can't afford to buy the originals, I completely understand, and I've got good news for you. I have prints. Starting off with the Unfinished Finish series, I've got the full 6 collection right here. We have them in size A5 and we even have them in A3. all available on my website, which is linked below. For each of the unfinished sets, we have 3 for the price of 2 or 6 for the price of 4. I also have prints of the Berries and Biscuits series. If you've already seen that video, you know exactly what it's about. I've got the complete set of prints. Same deal, 2 for the price of 3, and these ones are only available in A4 for now. And if you would like to let know about any future painting projects I have, any exhibitions, or if you would like to keep an eye out for any frog prints, do follow my social medias, also linked below. And hopefully you'll be seeing frog prints as an option very, very soon. Last but not least, did you hear me in my little rant mention that I am in an art magazine? Well, yes, I am. And not only am I in the magazine, I have also made the front cover. I can't believe this is real, but here it is in person. I am holding it. It's a real thing, and I cannot believe it, you know, this is my art on the front cover. So yeah, if you would like to read a little bit more about me, you can buy your own copy on Amazon. I will link that down below, and you can find me on page 56 to 59. Still can't believe it's real. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, leave a comment and share with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with any art projects I do in the future, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye!